statement, it's pretty much exactly how I thought it would go. Really, we're gonna have a good team, but we're a work in progress. Like, we don't know who to play, who should be out there. We've never had them in games, so we're just looking around trying to figure it all out as a staff and as a, and then I think they're good. I mean, you could see they've won 20 games, been in the NCAA tournament for 3 years. They're a good team, and we caught them on a good night on top of it. They shot the ball well. So we were fortunate. We had them on the ropes a couple times, and we just didn't quite finish the job. We made a few bad decisions. We gave up threes late, which you can't do. But, we're going to get a lot better. Our effort certainly is good enough. We just have to play better, which I'm sure we will.
Questions for Coach?
Keith, how, in your experience, how long does it take to get the right lineup? The entire non-conference schedule, usually every year?
I don't know. We've been slowed a little bit because we didn't have Dixon, we didn't have Chabi all summer, we didn't have a 5-man all summer. So I'm not making excuses, but we've been slowed down a little bit, and so that's hurt us a little. And then we're not quite sure yet, who should be in when. Clearly the Drames, for an example, they've started most of their career. Their energy level was terrific and changed the game. So that's the thing I'm most proud of was, neither Drames started and Trey Williams didn't start, and they've started almost every game in their career. So it tells you a lot about them as people and about them caring about winning. So we're gonna have a rotating lineup, and we'll play better. We did a lot of good things. I just felt like we just couldn't quite get over the hump. Even in the first half, I felt like we had better shots than they had, and they made more than we made. We had a lot of open looks. I think, we've worked really hard with Jimmy Clark at the point, and his hard work really has paid off with 8 assists and 3 turnovers. That's a big night for him, because he's usually a score-first guy. So that bodes well for us. So I think, like I said, I think, we got a lot of guys, and eventually we'll play better than that. But it didn't surprise me in the least. That's kind of how we played.
Were you expecting to play the Drames as much as you ended up putting them out there in the second half?
Well, we thought Fusini would play a lot, and then we weren't quite sure on Hassan, because he's been nursing a little bit of a knee deal. But the one thing you could say about them is they've been in a lot of games, man. And the second thing you could say is there's nobody that's going to play harder than them. They may not always make the right play, but they're going to play hard, and fearless. Fusini bopped that 3 in and it changed the game. So, just tells you a lot about their character.
This was Kareem's first opportunity as a lead guard. Can you just speak on his leadership on the court today? Since he didn't have the best statistical game, but his effect was definitely felt.
Well, leadership-wise, Kareem's the best I've ever had. I mean, that's quite a statement. His leadership ability is second to none. He's better than he played tonight. He missed open shots. He coughed a couple up. He made a couple bad decisions late. For instance, he gave up the 3 late on a soft switch, which the play before Trey Williams gave up the 3 on a soft switch, which you can't do. And then we had Kareem take the ball out of bounds because we wanted to throw it into either Jimmy or Day Grant, and we're open and we throw it into Dave Dixon. But Kareem's a good player. He's a winning player. And again, I'm hard on him because for us to be really good, he has to play a little bit better than that, which he will.
You guys went 18-33 from the free throw line tonight. Is it more of a positive factor that you guys are as aggressive and going to get to the line a lot, or is that a potential concern outside of guys like Day when it comes to them getting free throw line?
Well, Day had a bad night at the free throw line too. He was 8 for 11, which for him is a bad night. I just think it was a little bit jittery. First time out. We didn't play an exhibition. We played 2 scrimmages with no fans. It's funny. I told him, look, from now on you got 100 before you leave every night. It's the same thing. And The other thing that bothered me is we only had 4 offensive rebounds the first half, but we won the game at the offensive boards. We were terrific in the second half on the offensive boards, which gave us a lot of opportunity to score. We didn't make a lot of first-time shots, which we have to be better than that. But we actually did a really good job of getting extra opportunities on offensive boards, which they kind of beat us up on the offensive boards the first half.
Speaking of not sure which guys to play, David Dixon was part of the last part of end rotation and saw a lot from him. Was that something you figured would happen, or was that just a spur of the moment, just throw him in there instead of Trey Williams?
Well, we were going to play him. You know, he didn't practice until Saturday, so he's been out about 10 days. You know, because he had his knee drained and then PRP, so he's had a lot of trouble with swelling on his knee and hasn't really practiced much at all. But he's an unbelievable talent, man. This guy's a talented, athletic guy. Like, so, you know, we felt he's a good player. I told our guys, look, we're gonna have to ride a different horse every single night. So tonight was Dave. It could be Chavi the next night. It could be Saversov over Fusini the other night. It could be Jakob. You know, he's coming off a bad ankle too. You know, so we're just going to have to play it by ear, and then they have to be willing to accept it. You know, that's the way it's going to be.
Speaking on that topic, Keith, as you continue to evolve, we were just talking about the first game, is when you're getting depth and you're getting these options, is it going to be feel? Is it going to be game flow? Is it instinctual? What do you and how will tonight maybe help with that?
I think it has to be straight feel and who's playing well. You know, obviously the 2 guards are going to play, right? Day and Trey Clark are going to play, but then everybody else, you know, pretty much is battling to play. You know, they're all good players, which is it's hard to play like that, really. You know, because you know if you don't play great, you're not going to play as much. But like I said, they're good enough people. You know, they're good enough people that it didn't really affect them. Kayvon's another guy that's a good player. We just didn't get him in tonight. You know, we need to play him. But Jimmy's been kind of moving over to that point spot, which helps us get a little bit bigger at times too. I thought that helped us just rebounding the ball and things like that.
Seemed like towards the end of the game they were really meshing, but at the start of the game it seemed like it felt, you know, like a practice, you know, in terms of them just playing against each other instead of an opponent. When you guys were down 3 at the half, what did you tell your guys in the locker room?
I felt we played pretty good offensively. I thought we missed open shots, you know, which is big. I didn't think we guarded the ball very well, which was probably the biggest concern. We didn't rebound the ball very well, but I didn't feel like we played poorly. I just felt like we just things just didn't really go our way. You know, we made mistakes guarding the ball and things like that, but that's all going to get better. I mean, we can get better at that. And then we didn't protect the rim very good in the first half, I didn't think. That's where Dave really helped us. You know, Dave is just so explosive athletically that he knocked a couple back, which now changes the mindset when somebody drives in there. But they got good athletes. Like, look, you know, they're playing Tay Williams at the 3, who's one of the best, like, he'd be one of the best athletes in our league. Now, I'm not saying he'd be one of the best players in our league, but he's one of the best athletes in our league. And then, you know, the other guy's a pro. I mean, he's probably a Horizon League Player of the Year. And then we caught Louder on a night where, you know, he went nuts. And he's played a lot of basketball over the years. So, you know, he's a guy we looked at out of high school. He's a Michigan kid. So, you know, we didn't do a very good job on their main players, which is a problem. You have to guard the best players. It's not rocket science.
You guys had that, I think it was 7.5 minute stretch in the second half where Day was the only one scoring for you guys. How comfortable are you in those situations where the offense is really producing through Day, and then what can you do to sort of, I guess, spread the offense around a little bit better?
I just think it was happenstance. I don't think it was particularly, you know, anything other than that. Just happened that way on that particular game, really. I think, you know, at times it's Jimmy. At times, you know, we got to score a little bit better inside. And we did a pretty good job at throwing out of the post and got some open looks. We just didn't make them. Kareem had open looks. He just didn't make them. he makes them, it's probably a different game, and then you take the 18 for 33 at the line, that changes the game as well.
Keith, you want to talk about support. The students section was really in full force. How important is that, and how important is that the result to keep that continuity growing?
Well, I think it's one of the most important things that you have. Like, if you don't have a good home court advantage, you lose games at home. You know, regardless of what people think. When you're not great on a particular night, that fan base can help you win games. So the students really helped us. And for us to really make this a really home court advantage, we have to continue to, you know, keep putting people in the stands. Now you have to earn that. You have to win in order to get people in the stands. And it has to be fun, which I do think we have good athletes, so at least it's fun to watch. It might not always be pretty, but it's fun to watch.
Any other questions for Coach?
You don't have to cut them off, Jim.
We'll go here.
It's past my bedtime anyway, so it's cool.
Ratari, you got a question? You all right?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right.
Thanks for coming. Appreciate it.